Hello, welcome back to another FPL video. My word, I'm in dire need of a trim. Today we're going to be looking ahead to game week 11, specifically at those players you can buy and sell ahead of this weekend's fixtures. The way I've laid this out is I've laid it out into defence, midfield and attack, looking at players you can sell, then players you can buy, as it's best to kind of have the two together. Also, the player you'll see on your screen will be the main point of discussion. I will also mention other players as well. For the sell players, I've tried to keep them above 10% ownership, just to make it sort of as relevant to as many of you as possible. If you're new around here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Really pushing for that 200 mark, so it really helped me out if you don't mind hitting that button. If you like the video, hit the like button, of course, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. So firstly, looking at the sell players for the defence, the main man here is Andy Robertson. Now, with Liverpool's defensive injuries, Liverpool do look like they're going to concede a lot more goals. They conceded 2 penalties and a lot more big chances against Brighton. And although Andy Robertson does offer attacking potentials, having got 4 attacking returns so far in the 10 games this season, without that defensive solidity that we normally see there at Liverpool and the kind of likelihood that he's going to get a lot less clean sheets, him as an option, especially for 7.2 million, becomes a lot worse. There are definitely other players which I'll come on to who have that clean sheet and attacking potential and are cheaper than Robertson. Other defenders to mention, you've got the likes of Tyrone Mings at 5.3 million. He doesn't have a game this weekend, so obviously definitely something to think about. Also, I think there are other Aston Villa options like Konsa who are cheaper and definitely better value for money. Konsa's more likely to score goals. And just generally, when I'm going through this, Newcastle and Aston Villa assets I will be advising out, as they obviously don't have a fixture. Another defender that I definitely consider getting rid of is Connor Cody. Wolves haven't looked actually that defensively good this season. They've picked up a couple of clean sheets, not as many as you'd expect from them though, from a Nuno Espirito Santo side that is normally so good at the back. The fixtures they've got coming up in the next 5 are absolutely horrific as well, with Liverpool and Manchester City in there. So Connor Cody, definitely a player I'd look at shipping out sometime soon. Now, in terms of the buy players, a player that you can definitely bring in for the likes of Andy Robertson, Kyle Walker from Manchester City. Now, Manchester City haven't actually been too great defensively this season. However, we have kind of seen an upturn recently, and there are 87 minutes per expected goal. So defensively, they've definitely shored up in the past few weeks. Kyle Walker is a mainstay in the team. It seems like Pep Guardiola is really going for Kyle Walker in the Premier League and Cancelo in the Champions League. Ruben Diaz, another one for 0.6 million, yes, who offers a few less attacking returns. Also pretty much a mainstay. However, I can see, a couple of fixtures Diaz may get rotated for. I could potentially see him playing this weekend, but against the likes of West Brom, game week 13, he could go with Laporte and Stones. Against Manchester United, I expect Diaz to play, but Diaz I can see having a benching with a tight Christmas schedule coming up and the amount of game time that Pep is giving him. I think that Kyle Walker will play every single game, and there is also the potential for attacking returns as well. Another player I look at bringing in for 4.5 million is Southampton's Jan Bednarak. Southampton have kept 4 clean sheets so far this season, which is pretty good for them. And I mean, for 4.5 million, it's a very, very good budget option. If you say want to go from Robertson down to a 4.5 million Bednarak, and Bednarak does have Brighton, Sheffield and Fulham coming up. He also nabbed a goal last week, so he has a bit of attacking threat there, and I just think he looks like a decent option for 4.5 million that can really free up a lot of money going forward as well. And just to mention to Ben Chilwell, if you don't have him, very, very high ownership player. Should I love him in at the end because most people have kind of made that move already. But if you haven't, Ben Chilwell, definitely the main guy to go for at the minute. So then we move on to the midfield, and unfortunately we see Jack Grealish in there, mainly because he just doesn't have a fixture coming up. Aston Villa have Wolves, Burnley and West Brom coming up, so they're not the worst fixtures. However, Burnley are definitely showing up at the back. Wolves aren't, I have said obviously that they haven't looked too great defensively, but they're still also not a side that you particularly would want to play against if you're expecting goals. And after that, come game week 15, Aston Villa have a sort of 5 fixtures where they play the likes of City, Chelsea, I think maybe even Liverpool in there. They have a really, really horrid run of fixtures. So now if you were sort of planning on getting rid of Grealish, now potentially is a good time to do so, just because he doesn't have a fixture coming for this game week. Then also we've got James Rodriguez in there. James Rodriguez really sort of came to the Premier League, absolutely lit the place up, but over the past 5 game weeks he's blanked in every single one, and I think most people who own James Rodriguez will most likely own Calvert-Lewin as well. Calvert-Lewin definitely the one to own out of the two, because he's the only one in that Everton side who's shown some kind of consistency. So I definitely look at maybe try and get try and get Calvert-Lewin in for Rodriguez if you don't have him. But either way, I don't think Rodriguez has been looking that good of late. Yes, he could definitely pop off, and Everton don't have the worst of fixtures, but they also don't have the best of fixtures. And I think other players, which are coming to talk about, definitely are looking better than James Rodriguez at the minute. So Bayern, this is not particularly aimed at those people who are transferring out Grealish or those people who are transferring out James Rodriguez. I'll come on to that after I've discussed these two. But I just want to throw these two in there at the minute because they look essential for the coming game weeks. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne plays Fulham at home, West Brom at home, Newcastle at home in the next 5 game weeks. All 3 of those games are great captaincy options, so I think De Bruyne is a must-have. And we saw a little glimpse of the Manchester City we know and love in terms of FPL. That 5-0 against Burnley was sort of, I really appreciated that because I captained Kevin De Bruyne. So I think we're sort of starting to see Man City coming back to what they were. And also Pep has rested the likes of De Bruyne, the likes of Walker for this coming game week. So I think they're really going to cause Fulham some trouble. Also there we've got Bruno Fernandez, who's absolutely on fire at the moment. People call him Fernandez, but you know, for FPL, it does not matter how he scores. It just matters that he gets the points. And in the past 3 weeks, he's got 10, 11 and 17 points. Absolute huge numbers. Over the next few weeks, we can probably expect him to do the same. He hasn't blanked away from home since being in the Premier League. So against West Ham, you can most likely expect some kind of return. And also, come game week 14, that Leeds fixture, he looks like the best, by far the best captaincy option at that time. So definitely one to look at bringing in sometime soon. Now, in terms of transfers you can make for the likes of Grealish and for the likes of James Rodriguez, around that kind of price bracket, you've got the likes of Mahrez and you've also got the likes of Ziyech. Both of whom I like very much. They are just a tad more expensive, but hopefully if you're able to find a little bit of money in the bank, those two look very, very good. Lampard seemingly loves to play Ziyech in the minute in the Premier League, and how he's not got returns in the past few games, I don't know. He's been playing very well on pretty much all the set pieces, and his assist potential is very, very high. Also with Mahrez, it seems as though Pep is favouring to play Mahrez in the league fixtures, which looks really good for FPL managers who own him. And you know, with the likes of Fulham, West Brom and Newcastle coming up, he looks like he could be an incredible asset. After scoring a hat-trick last weekend, a lot of people will most likely be transferring him in. So moving on to the attackers and what attackers you can look at selling for this coming game week. Now, I was actually going to talk heavily about Callum Wilson in the buy section, but obviously now he doesn't have a fixture and we don't know if Newcastle will have a game week 12 either. So I think with that being said, Callum Wilson doesn't look too bad of an option to sell. Obviously, if you've got the free transfer and you're able to kind of do it, obviously if you really need to get him out so you can put out a full 11, then I think that may be the way to go. However, if you can bring players in the bench, even someone like Romeu, I think it is a good idea to hold on to Wilson, because long term you'll get the double game week and the coming fixtures that Callum Wilson has between game week 12 and game week 14 are West Brom, Leeds and Fulham. So it looks like you could get some big returns in them. So hold him unless you really, really need to sell. And also we've got the likes of Timo Werner. Timo Werner for me is more a sell just because of the value for money that he provides. He's not got bad fixtures and he's also not been of bad form of late. However, if you drop him down to someone like, you know, an Ollie Watkins, I know he missed the pen the other week, but he has really, really good fixtures and definitely can start banging them in. Obviously, I would have said drop him down to someone like Wilson, but you can't do that. Drop him down to someone like Che Adams. This frees up sort of between 3 and 3.5 million that you can put into a De Bruyne, that you can put into a Fernandez, which overall will gain you a lot more points. So Timo Werner for me is a sell. Then looking at attackers. Now, as I said, the main thing I was going to discuss here was Callum Wilson, which is now why I've gone for Jesus as the kind of main topic of discussion for the buy in the attacker section. Now, with Aguero seemingly just week by week picking up injuries, it seems as though for this kind of Christmas period we're going to be seeing a lot of Jesus. Now, with the attacking players that Jesus has behind him and just the amount of opportunities he gets given on a plate, if you're unable to get De Bruyne, or even if you are able to get De Bruyne in, I think Jesus is a great differential as well, because he's part of a Manchester City side, as I said, I'm going to say it again, that are playing Fulham, West Brom and Newcastle at home in the next 5, and also Southampton, who have been known to leak a few goals, especially against the likes of Manchester City. So I think that Gabriel Jesus is a really, really good option. Further to that, I think that Cavani is definitely one to be looked at and sort of to keep an eye on. I would like to see him start a few more games. I think a lot of people will be snapping him in after that 15-pointer at the weekend, but I'm unsure whether Ole is going to kind of consistently start him after that performance. I think he's definitely earned himself a start at the weekend. I could definitely see him deploying a similar tactic where, he'll start the likes of Greenwood or Martial in potentially an easier game, and if it's not going well, Cavani's there on the bench to bring on at half time to absolutely sweep away that kind of team. But I can see Cavani playing in kind of all the big matches, and for 8 million, definitely one to keep an eye on. I hope you have enjoyed this buy-sell video for Game Week 11. Sort of a lot of stuff has been thrust on us this week, so I hope you're not panicking too much and you just take your time and be calm with the transfers. Try not to panic with them too much. If you have enjoyed, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here, and I'll catch you in the next one.